Good afternoon, and welcome to Emma Catherine LeRoy's senior speech. She is joined today by her parents, Reese LeRoy and Mary Margaret Weatherby, her sister Charlotte, class of 23, her grandparents, Barbara and Lamar LeRoy, her beloved Miss Mary Ellen, and other family and friends. Please give them all a warm welcome. EC joined the Augusta Prep community in 5th grade. While here, she has been a member of the varsity girls track since 8th grade, and in her sophomore year helped the team win their first state championship by finishing state runner-up in the 300-meter hurdles and running with the 4x100 relay team that finished first in state. She helped the girls trio win region literary her 10th and 11th grade years as alto. She's been in chorus from 9th through 12th grade, serving as VP and alto section leader in that time. Been a member of Cyber Club her 11th and 12th grade year, serving as co-founder and co-president during that time. Been a member of National Honor Society her 10th to 12th grade year and serving as president currently. And as if she were not busy enough, she joined the swim team this year. Off campus, she's a worship leader at Vineyard Church of Augusta since 7th grade. She dresses up as princesses for birthday parties with fairy tale dreams, serves as a secretary for Watson Brown Jr. Board, works at Starbucks as a barista, and works at the bicycle peddler doing something with bikes. She states her interest as, and I quote, showering and lying in bed. And while she says she doesn't like a lot of things, of those she does like, she includes her family and a few other special individuals. And for her future plans, again, she states, and I quote, men's studies at whatever college she can find the degree. Please give EC a warm welcome as she endeavors to educate you in education and why she has a complicated relationship with it.
Happy M period. So I'm going to start by telling you a little bit about myself so you can get a feel for my perspective and my bias. And then I'm going to present a conflict, pose some questions, make some observations, and then I'm going to conclude my speech. So both of my parents are pastors at a local church of a denomination that emphasizes the Holy Spirit. So naturally, I grew up being best friends with the Holy Spirit. We look so cute in this picture. And I would write down things that the Holy Spirit would say to me. This is a prayer journal from 4th grade. And here's another one. This one's kind of hard to read. But the first line is talking about the peace that I felt from the Holy Spirit. I think it's about my mom's trip to Colorado. Cat, stop nagging my dad about getting one. Say sorry. I am sorry. Patience, my new room, and patience, Augusta Prep. Now, for more context, my older sister Lily was already at the school when I wrote this in 4th grade, and I just had to have Augusta Prep. I was super obsessed with it. I used to go on the website and just look in 4th grade. Super weird. But it was looking like I wasn't going to get to go, and so my pastor parents said, pray, and I did. So at this point, it was already something super personal for me. I was already sold on this education thing. And spoiler alert, I still am. So I was listening to a TED Talk the other day called Changing Education Paradigms, and it's by this really smart guy named Sir Ken Robinson. And he tackles the topic by starting off with his own perspective. And for some context, unfortunately, he passed away this year at 70, but that kind of gives you an idea of when he did high school and college. He says, we were kept there with a story. I suspect that you all know what that story is. Now, he's British, so I'm drawing a parallel, but he's talking about the American dream ideology. When you wake up in the morning and you do high school every day and you work really, really hard, you're going to get into your dream college. And when you work really, really hard in college, you're going to graduate, instantly get a job, and it's going to correlate 100% with your degree every time. But then he talks about our generation and our experience, and he says this, quote, the problem is they're trying to meet the future by doing what they did in the past, and along the way they're alienating millions of kids. Ouch. But teachers, I want to say something to you really quickly. I don't think that Sir Ken Robinson thinks that teachers are these cranky shells of past learners who plot every day to fill the students' heads with archaic dead weight. I don't think that at all. I think that Sir Ken Robinson loves teachers just as much as he loves kids and students, and that's why he wants this education thing to work. But I do think it's interesting You know, I've chosen to pull these quotes from Sir Ken to establish our conflict. He says education is a narrative, or at least has one. And then he says it changes. Something's not quite working anymore. Maybe the narrative has changed, maybe the culture in which it's being perceived has changed. But I think it's interesting that the numbers kind of say that as well. The top line is Canada, and the lowest is the United States. Canada is beating us at our own ideology. You guys, that's crazy. But something's changed, right? Now, when I was researching for this presentation, I came across two equations. Here's the first one. Education is a business. Now, I've already brought up our country, so let's keep it going. Now, if you walked in this room loving capitalism, I don't intend for you to leave any different. But I'm taking this online class called Diversity in a Global Comparative Perspective, and we study power. Did you know that capitalism is successful when inequities happen? Like, there's one party who is constantly trying to maximize their input, like how much money they get, and they're constantly trying to minimize their output, like how much they pay their workers or like raw materials, things like that. And let me tell you a secret. There are more workers and harvesters of raw materials than CEOs. So it's successful when inequity happens. Also, there's a currency in education. Do you know that A's, B's, and C's, they have value, that they can correlate to something monetary like a scholarship, or they can correlate to opportunities or your identity, what your peers or your parents or your teachers project onto you, or what you believe about yourself. Here's the second one. Education is a global religion. Now, I like this one, but I do want to say, don't be scared by the word religion, okay? I don't want you to be thinking about one particular religion, or like bowing down to education, or like worshiping education, although you can if you want. But let's look at the word religion. See that L-I-G? It comes from the same Latin root as ligament or ligature. It means tying to. So instead of thinking as a religion of like as a specific religion, or maybe memories that you have, good or bad, think of it more as a set of morals or beliefs that you're tying yourself to. It's something that you're pursuing, that you're choosing to believe in. You're saying like, yes, I claim this. Now, I instantly thought of separation of church and state. In the United States, we get uncomfortable when we feel church and state kind of creeping up on each other. It's kind of hairy. But based on the two equations I just chose to present to you, they're part of education. So I guess I'm trying to communicate to you that education is not this mass. It's dynamic. There are channels within it, and different dynamics are moving inside of it. There are different agendas in education. This thing has been around for a while, you guys. It's been changed by so many different things. Ask Dr. White about it, and I'm sure he would love to tell you. And here's the good news. There's freedom in that. There's flexibility in that. You don't have to like the culture of education. Let's talk about it from a business perspective for a second. You don't have to like the culture of education. You don't have to believe in it, but you can still participate in it, right? You can still, maybe you like the transactional part. Maybe you like the input-output thing. Like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and plan everything. I'm gonna take these courses, and I'm gonna get these grades and do these extracurriculars. I'm gonna try to get in this college, and if I go, that's gonna be my output. Like, it's transactional, and it takes a lot of hard work. And it's a totally valid way of doing education. There's validity and variety. That's what I'm trying to communicate to you. But you could be like me. You have maybe more of an intimate love. It's more touchy-feely, emotional kind of experience with education, where at the end of the day, you're not so focused on the currency of education. Like, there are some days I kind of joke and I like tell Mr. Lutz, like, I don't care about any grade I make in your class, like, just to be like a little punk. But really, there's kind of some truth in that. I would rather be fulfilled by something I'm learning and measure it based on how I'm feeling or how I'm growing as a person, rather than the currency that I'm getting on a test. And so I guess this whole speech is just a call for you to consider. We don't spend a lot of time thinking about education as a whole, and I get it. We're busy doing education. We're busy taking classes. There's content. There's responsibilities, deadlines. But I would like you to consider the narrative. Been describing it as a narrative, as a story. How are you participating in the narrative? What narrative do you think education has? Do you care? You don't have to care at all. But I recommend trying it out, thinking of a narrative. It can really change your experience and your perception. And if you treat it like I do, with a pursuit of truth, also remember it's not just the pursuit of truth, it's the pursuit of the truth that options exist. Again, there's flexibility. You don't have to value the same things as your parents or your friends. You don't have to like the currency that we're using, right? There's flexibility. I would just like to conclude by saying, I named my speech an ode to education because I love this thing. And my parents, you guys, you sacrificed so much for me to be here. And it means so much to me. And I just wanted to say thank you. That, I was in 4th grade writing that I wanted to go to the school, and now I'm on stage giving my senior speech. And that's so massive. So thank you to all of my family and friends who came today. Thank you for my teachers. You guys are so underrated. Thank you.